So I've done this whole reciprocity project for like 8 years now, and I've come to the realization that most people don't they seriously don't read anything, and it doesn't matter like what skill level they're at, and they don't take the time to take a deep dive into something. So let me, suggest what this is. If you're building anything like this, just know that people are going to read the headlines, and it doesn't matter how well intentioned that you actually are. It doesn't matter, if if you're very kind. It doesn't matter if you sort of see a better world. It doesn't matter any of that kind of stuff. What people are going to do is they're going to read or look at or interpret the first three words and process that and never pay attention to anything else. They won't look at the deeper message, anything like that. In fact, this is like the fundamental problem is if you are, sending your paper off and you're doing research, for example, the fundamental problem is you realize like nobody's actually reading the damn thing. Um, and very few people that actually read the damn thing. And then you're stuck there. You do all this work and, people read a couple of words and then they think that they have the gist of actually what you're doing and what you're about. And then often, at least in my experience, sorry about that. There was somebody that wasn't driving very well. At least in my experience, um, that they often have very emotional reactions to things that they shouldn't have emotional reactions to, right? Like you're trying to be kind-hearted, you have good intentions, all those kind of things, and they just get this like really angry emotional reaction. And what I've come to realize when this happens, and it takes me a long time to sort of process this or what this is because I'm the type of person I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm trying to do good with like I honestly want people to do well. Um and that's my entire intention almost all the time is to see other people do well. But what's gonna happen is somebody is gonna read like some cursory thing, get very emotional, and then project that emotion that they're feeling is often just projection of what's going on inside of their heart. Right. And they are really that they just haven't come to terms or they haven't gotten to the moment that they're actually processing anything. And, they may never do that. There might be somebody that actually listens to everything that I'm saying and they're not taking what I'm actually, they're really not processing what I'm saying. And it might take hundreds and hundreds of times of somebody listening or somebody seeing what I'm saying and is like, PO'd, um, or, they just listen and they're not getting at the true message. Right. And my message is almost always extraordinarily simple. It's, to get anywhere, you have to put in a god awful lot of work. You have to do things that, are unrewarded. People will not sort of see what you're doing. And that is everything. It's not just and I hope you're understanding that the reason why I just simply talk about, say, the research field, for example, is because I'm trying to make it easier for you to process, right? It's easier for you if I talk about the things that I go through. And I hope you're learning from some of these things that, yeah, even somebody that is, supposedly have it all together, I struggle with things all the time. Right. And it's this journey of getting back up and doing it again, despite the fact that I don't feel like it, despite the fact that, I often feel lost. I want to curl up in the ball, and cry in the corner all the time. Right. Despite that fact, I get back up and I do it again. I hope you're processing that and thinking about not necessarily what I'm saying. I understand. I get it. that you're not going to understand the research world, but the research world is just it's a microcosm. It's something that is reflective of more than just one little tiny thing. It's reflective of human beings. It's reflective of all the things that you're going to go through. And so even if you want to create, it's a small business, or, one of the dreams that my sisters had when I was a kid, and I wish they would have done it, is they want to open up a candy store, right? Like, and I think that that's wonderful, but don't expect that candy store to work at the beginning, right? Like that's silly. You got to get back up and try and go and do one more day, and hope, and maybe it's stupid, right? Like maybe it's stupid. You're gonna waste a whole bunch of money. When do you know you're wasting a whole bunch of money? When do you know it's actually really stupid? You don't. That's the thing. Never know, right? Like it's not something that is gonna jump up at you and say, "Hey, don't do this anymore." Particularly if you're getting something out of it, and that's where you have to stop and say, "Hey, you know, is it the reason why I'm actually doing this? Is this like?" Something that, why am I doing this? And that why, that understanding that there's bigger things sometimes is important, where it's not just about, um, and I hate this, like the sort of financial aspect of things. It's a serious, important thing. And like, I'm not discounting that, right? Like, I think that that is central to a lot of what we do, but there is a lot of meaning that goes on behind the scenes that you have to also think about, right? And those things, they both matter equally, right? So, to what I'm saying is like, yeah, you might do something that is not necessarily like, people are not gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm knocking down the doors because you're making so much money, and, you're world famous and all that kinda crap," but you're doing it because you love it, right? And you have a little bit to show from that. It's like, years ago, we knew this painter. He was not famous. It didn't have a lot of fanfare, but sold enough paintings and did good enough that they were fine. They lived in a little tiny house, and they were just fine. Like, probably made $20,000, if that, a year, right? Like, wasn't like writing home to, say how famous I was, but but that's why you do these things. It's often, that there's something else that's there, and I encourage you to think about that, the bigger message of why you do things, right? It's like, yes, I would encourage you, if you're in the research world, to pursue things for money, right? Like, that is a damn good thing, right? Do things for money, do things for success. Um, but there's something bigger behind the scenes of why you actually do things, right? Like, there is something that is incredibly important. Do I think that you should pursue things that are incredibly important, that matter to you, to the fact that you'll forever be, you'll be bankrupt and all that kind of stuff? No, right? Like, you do it so that you find something that you love, right? But it makes no sense to anybody else, but it's your thing, and you're able to live moderately well, even though that you're pursuing that thing. And I think that that is totally plausible for most things in life, right? Like, I think, and that's where you have to ease off. If the only thing that you worry about is success and getting to some place that doesn't exist, and you're going to end up with some sorry hearts in the long run, and you'll ruin all of your relationships. It just will not work out. But do I think, on the opposite side, to be foolish and never worry about money or anything like that, and pursue your thing just because it's your thing, um and become homeless and all that kind of, no, that's silly. Right, like, but find the right combination where you can do both, love yourself doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be at work often. Or that thing that you love may never be at work, but you have to figure out how to make that happen so you fall in love with it, right? Like if you love something, pursue it. Don't lose faith in that particular thing. Keep doing it. Right? That's the way I do this. Is I'm in love with the whole research game. Like I love not the game of it, but I think it's important to do good research, to let other people know, to be passionate about something, to do things that seem irrational to everybody else, and they think that you're silly. I think those things are so important to pursue. And I think you should be pursuing those things in your life. I think that's good to do it. And I wish that you all the best with pursuing things. Clearly there are things that you can make money sometimes and find some enjoyment, but those things are damn hard to find. And there's always some work involved. But um do I think that there are things in this world that are worth pursuing that make no sense to anybody else? Yes. Do I think that you need to have a good life by having financial stability? Absolutely. But why can't you do all of those things? You simply just have to make those things work and figure it out. That's it. And the only way that you can figure it out is do it every day. Keep working at it, keep trying, and don't give up on yourself. All right. Take care and have a wonderful day.